Okay, as you can see, your first name and last name in the top right hand corner, not in the left hand corner. You would put the period. This is period 1 and 2. Virtual learners, you're going to put period 3. On the top of the spiral review, this is a 6th grade one, but it's quarter 2, week 2. So you're going to put 6th grade, quarter 4, week 2. We are working on Wednesdays today, so on the top line you will write Wednesday. Then I'm going to put a number 1 and circle it. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the problem down. So I have 7 and 200 times 0 and 8500. When multiplying decimals, you forget that the decimals are there and just multiply it by like normal. So 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1, leave the 0. 5 times 0, 0, plus 1 makes 1. Thank you. 5 times 7 is? 35. One guy, you need to answer, 35. Cross off what I've used, add a 0, and then 8 times 2 is? 16. Carry the 1. 8 times 0 is? Plus 1 makes? 1. And 8 times 7 is? 56. And I notice I have everything neatly lined up, and then I'm going to add. 0 plus 0 is? 0. 1 plus 6? 7. 5 plus 1? 6. 3 plus 6? 9. And then a 5. Then you come back and you count your decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start all the way to the right, and then go to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place your decimal. Rewrite your answer, 5.9670. And then you put a box around your answer. However, there's 2 parts to number 1, so now I'm going to do the second part. 53 and 7600 divided by 2 and 1/10. First thing that you do when dividing decimals, you move out the decimal place because you can't have a decimal place in the divisor. So I'm going to move it once here, so then I have to move it once here. Rewrite your problem. 537 and 6/10 is now being divided by 21. Can 21 go into 5? No, so put an X there. Put a smiley under 53. So 21 can go into 53 how many times? 2. Because 2 times 21 is? 42. Is what? 42. 42. So then I take 53 minus 42. So 3 minus 2 is 1. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down the 7. How many times can 21 go into 117? 5. Because what's 21 times 5? 45. So, and if you don't know it, you would just come over to the side and do it, right? So it goes in there 5 times. So I'm going to subtract 105. I get 12 left. Don't skip the decimal. Arrow it up and put it in there. Bring down the 6. How many times can 21 go into 126? 6. Because 6 times 21 is? 126. It's exact, right? In 7th, and then I'm going to circle my answer. In 7th grade, you're going to get somewhere you're going to have to add the 0, okay? But you're going to want to read the directions because it'll say round to the nearest 100th or round to the nearest 10th. So sometimes it can keep going on and on and on forever, okay? So you will need to make sure you're reading that it's not always going to come out exactly even. Number 2, if I try to put space here, I know how I'm going to do the problem, but you might not. So if you don't think you have enough space there, just come over here and write number 2, and then I can start in a new area. It says, Jared made 4 birdhouses in 3 days. How many days will Jared work to make 20 birdhouses? In order to do this problem, we're going to do equivalent ratios. So it was 4 and I'm gonna put BH for birdhouses. And this is a ratio for birdhouses in 3 days. Okay? And it equals, well, I wanna know how long it takes to make 20 birdhouses. Notice that these are gonna be equivalent ratios. And a ratio is an equivalent fraction. So you ask yourself, how do I get from 4? So there's a couple ways to do this. So I need to know what x equals. You can do it a couple ways, making an equivalent fraction. So how do I get from 4 to 20? Times 5. So when you do equivalent fractions, you have to do the same on the bottom. So I do times 5. So what's 3 times 5? So x equals 15. Another way to do this that will always work, because sometimes equivalent fractions, you're going to find out it's not going to be an easy number that you're multiplying it by a whole number. In this case, it does. But you will say, you'll make your equivalent fraction, x is here, and you're going to do what you guys call the toothbrush method, but it's cross multiplication. So now I have 4 times x is 4x equals 3 times 20, which is 60. I have to get x alone, and if I'm multiplying, I'm going to divide by 4, and 60 divided by 4 is 15. So I got the same answer 2 different ways. Yes? Yes, I want you to write down both ways. If I'm writing it on the paper, since this is practice, you need to write it on yours. When you go to doing it yourself and you figured it out one way, you don't have to put down both. Just for this week, you're writing everything down. As long as you found the correct answer. Let's say I went and I practiced it and I got the wrong answer. I'm going to put a line through it and rewrite the correct way. Number 3 says solve for z. So I have z plus 17 equals 38. For algebra, you're going to put a line through that equal sign. What we're basically doing is making a teeter-totter. You have to equal out both sides. This is a magical line. So when something goes across that line, you do the opposite operation. So here we're doing subtraction, and I want to get z alone. So that means I have to move 17 across that magical line. So when I'm going across that magical line, I'm going to do the opposite of adding, so I'm going to subtract it. And I'm subtracting it from both sides, so this means that the 17 is not there anymore, and I'm left with z equals, and then 38 minus 17 is 21. So z equals 21. Now I know several of you could have figured that one out in your head, but I need to see all of this work, because it is going to get a lot more difficult. Okay? I need to see the line through the equal sign. I need to see you showing that these canceled each other out to leave z alone. 4 is a chart. Find the rule, solve for n. Well, I look here. Well, how do I get from 23 to 16? Well, I'm going down, so I'm either dividing or subtracting. Olivia?
Subtracting.
What did I subtract?
7.
Okay. When I went from 25 to 18, did I subtract 7 again?
Yes.
Okay. So right here where the rule, I can just say the rule is minus 7. Then to solve for n, I just take 28, and I can just show this right on this paper because it doesn't take much work. Minus 7 equals 21. So then rewrite it though, n equals 21. The post office is now calculating the volume of packages to determine the shipping cost. If a box measures 8.5 inches long, 5 1/4 inches wide, and 7 inches high, what is the volume? This needs to be done on your separate paper. This is number 5, so we're gonna put number 5. You need to start by telling me how to find volume. You're gonna say the formula. Volume equals length times width times height. Notice I'm using the dots and not the multiplication sign. So then I come in and I just fill it in. 8.5 times 5 1/4 times 7. In order to multiply mixed numbers, we need to change these to improper fractions. So 8 times 2 is 16, 16 plus 1 is 17, so it's 17 halves, times 5 times 4 is 20, 20 plus 1 is 21 fourths, times, and 7's a whole number, so what do we put over that over? 1. I look up and down or going across. Can I reduce anything? No, so you just multiply going across. So I don't know 17 times 21, so I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna do it. 21 times 17. 7 times 1 is 7, 7 times 2 is 14, add a 0, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, and I'm just doing this as quick as I can, 357. So now I have 357 times what? Times what? 7. So 7 times 7 is 49, 7 times 5 is 35, plus 4 makes what? 39. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 3 makes 24. So I have 2,499 over 2 times 4 is 8. I want to change that improper fraction to a mixed number. So how do we do that? We just divide. So I'm going to have to show some work. 2,499 divided by 8. 8 doesn't go into 2, but it goes into 24 how many times? Because 3 times 8 is? What's 3 times 8? 24. There we go, 24. Nothing left, bring down the 9. 8 goes into 9 once. 1 left, bring down the 9. 8 goes into 19 2 times, which is 16. 3 left. So I have 312 and 3 8s, because 8 was on the bottom. Circle your answer, or put a box around your answer. So as you can see, there's a lot of work, and there is not enough room on the back. So, and I want to see the line paper to make it neat. The next question says, find the mean absolute deviation of the data. I don't want you to find the mean absolute deviation. I just want you to find the mean. So cross off absolute deviation, circle the word mean. And I think I would have enough room right down here in my corner. And this is number, we'll count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm gonna put number 6 here. We need to find the mean. And another word for mean is average. How do you find the average?
You add all the numbers together and then divide them by the number.
Right, add them up. So I'm gonna add 9 plus 12 plus 3 plus 5 plus 8, and then I'll divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do some easy addition here. 9 plus 3 is, what's 9 plus 3? 12. What's 5 plus 8? Okay, so I know 12 plus 12 is 24. So I'm gonna do 24 plus 13. I'm combining easy numbers that I know. So I have 37. So then I'm gonna take 37. I'm gonna come over here because I have room here. Divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 goes into 37 how many times? 7 times 5 is? 35. 2 left. Whenever you're working with mean and average, you're not going to make it a mixed number. anytime you're working with data, you're going to use decimals. So I'm gonna have to add a decimal, add a 0. Bring up the decimal, bring down the 0, and 5 goes into 20 4 times. So my answer is 7.4 for the mean. Then I am having you skip number 7. So just put a line through that. Don't shade it all out. Just put a line through it. Then it says graph the integer 4, and it's opposite on the number line. So here's the 0. I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's the opposite of a positive 4? Anybody?
Negative 4.
And then I'm just going to put a dot on the negative 4. Graph the ordered pair negative 1, comma 3, and its reflection over the axis. Don't worry about the reflection. I just want you to graph this ordered pair. Make sure you're putting the x and the y above it. And if you notice, we did that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Are we going to do it again tomorrow? Yes. You need to get used to know that it's x comma y. X goes left or right, and since we have a negative 1, we're going to go left. So left to negative 1, and then it is a positive 3, so we're going to go up. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to place our dot right there. And I'm done. Okay? Then next week, you're going to take a picture of this paper right here that you did. And if you need to take pictures of both because you have stuff on here, that is what you're going to submit to the Bell work. So you're going to take a picture of your work on paper after we've corrected it. Okay? So next week, we're not going to do the activities. We're just going to do the spiral review for Bell work.